Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. 32 ways to blow it with a Filipina. Now, this was a live stream I did a while back, and it did pretty good. And I wanted to do an upload where it is condensed. So the live stream, was quite lengthy. So here, hopefully, we'll have the whole article up on the WordPress blog. But for this video, I'm going to try to run through these 32 ways to blow it with a Filipina as quickly as I can. Now, this was actually a viewer request, so I appreciate that. And so again, we're going to try to squeeze some of the air out of this and be running through this pretty quickly and talking about ways to blow it with a Filipina. And that's not good because it could prevent you from being able to meet one and perhaps marry the love of your life. So the channel's been doing better since the live was done, so I thought this was a topic worth putting out there again in a different format so more people can learn from these points. So we'll just dive in right here. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. We're here to help men find Filipinas for marriage. That's a woman from the Philippines. Been learning a lot in my 4.5 years of marriage, and so that's where a lot of my ideas come from, and a lot of my thoughts is my own experience. So one thing you want to be careful not to do is by assuming that she won't be interested in you. Right off the bat, you could be making a mistake here. So why would somebody do this? If they haven't had success in their country, like I hadn't, they might assume it will be that way regardless of where they look. Could be they don't consider themselves attractive, maybe they aren't in tip-top shape or don't have enough money. And after enough rejection, it becomes difficult to believe that you can ever find somebody to marry. You might even feel like you're too old for a Filipina, but that would be a mistake because there would be a lot of interest for you to sort through when you if you're on a dating site, for example. If you're in the Philippines, then a lot of guys there say it's not that hard to come across somebody that would be open to conversation. So you want to make sure that you have some confidence in yourself and don't assume that she won't be interested just because it's maybe been that way in the West. Another thing here is by being afraid. You could blow it with a Filipina if you are afraid. And by fear, I mean being too cautious, unnecessarily cautious. Could be a number of things. Fear of rejection, might be a lack of confidence. Maybe the thought of Skyping with a younger, pretty Filipina could be intimidating. And even possible, a man could be afraid of success, that he actually might be able to strike up a relationship with a Filipina. And then what? Another thing to avoid is believing the stereotypes. This could be one way to blow it with a Filipina, and no doubt stereotypes exist for a reason, but that doesn't mean that you're going to run into somebody that only wants you for your money. She'll leave you once she gets to your country and that sort of thing. She's only here for a green card. Those are stereotypes, and they certainly do not have to be true in your case. Another way is by not making the effort. This could be a summary or a catch-all of the reasons to remain on the sideline and not get on the playing field. A couple of guys have told me that at one time in their past, they actually thought about dating a woman from another country, and one of them said it with a measure of regret. Maybe it was the length of time it would take, or the money, or that it would cost. And maybe there are men who got sidetracked with other priorities, or perhaps their interest level really wasn't strong to begin with. Also, here's another thing to avoid: by not separating yourself in your profile. We have to remember that blowing it at this stage means not meeting the Filipina in person and having to start all over. So when you make a profile, you want to say things that are, pertinent to you. You don't want to just say the same thing as the next guy does, because that makes it hard for a Filipina to take an interest in your profile if it's not, separated from another one. You probably want to try to avoid saying things like, well, I like to go to the gym, I like to party, or, you're an understanding guy who loves children, because that could describe a lot of guys. And that's kind of like a Filipina. Um, when she says she's a simple woman and doesn't provide much more. So it can be difficult to really understand who each other is. So in your profile, just separate yourself. I cut to the chase very quickly when I wrote mine. I told her what was important to me, what I longed for, what I hadn't accomplished yet. I was looking for a wife. I wanted to go through life hand in hand with someone. And if I had my original profile, I would read it to you. But I have not been able to uncover where that might be. And again, there's much more that I will say in the WordPress article. Here I'm just trying to get through these as quickly as I can. One of the ways to blow it with a Filipina would be by revealing too much too soon. It's very exciting to be chatting with a Filipina, and you daydream about that she could become your wife. But you could find such a sense of relief that you come on too strong, and by revealing too much too soon. Could be health issues, trauma in your life, but it's enough for the Filipina to feel like they have become a counselor when they just want to see if there's any chemistry there and what your personality is like, if the man comes up with, too much too soon. I tend to be transparent, but I had to hold back, when I met my wife. And so for me, I had to hold it in a little bit. I think some guys maybe have to learn to be more transparent than they are. And so another way to blow it would be, conversely, by not revealing enough. And some might be inclined to not reveal enough. And I know early on, you want to start slow, but a profile should make this woman remember what you wrote and make you stand out from other men. This also applies to when the two are communicating by chat and webcam. If she asks you a specific question, it would seem best to me to answer it as completely as you can. Another thing on the don't do list would be bragging. Filipina won't want to hear bragging. Also, if you don't move quick enough when you're doing these, or to doing the webcams, I don't know why somebody wouldn't necessarily be eager to do a webcam, but he might just, like in my case, I had never done anything like that before, but I was so determined, to try to find somebody that I got the webcam and got it set up, and just took a good swallow, tried to be prepared, and started the webcams. And I found the Filipinas that I chatted with to be very easy to talk to and pleasant. So I don't think you really have to worry about having an awkward conversation with her. Another thing here, by being uncomfortable asking tough questions and by being uncomfortable answering tough questions. In order to keep momentum, certain things must be talked about, and being hesitant to do this could blow it with a potentially good Filipina wife. Also, by lingering too long in the safe zone. In other words, being hesitant to get serious. And this could involve someone who has done a webcam with a Filipina, but for whatever reason is not aggressive as they could be. The Filipina is on the other side, maybe anticipating a move to a little more serious relationship level. At worst, this could indicate the man isn't ready to move into a new relationship for reasons only he would know. And there's a certain safety in not having, to deal with the issues that come up in marriage. It could be a perception that marrying her is best, but is it really? It may seem safer to stay single, but is that better long term? Should he take more risk? How much more risk is he comfortable with? But at some point, if you're on that dating site to find a wife, you're going to have to experience some kind of risk Just keep your eyes open, listen to your gut, share what you're learning with somebody you trust so that if there is something there that you're not seeing, that they would be able to spot it. Also, another thing you might want to avoid to not blow it with a Filipina is by being unwilling to just focus on one. So, if you've got 4 or 5 choices and you just want to keep chatting with all of them, it's going to take probably 4 or 5 times longer and 4 or 5 times more difficult to actually figure out which Filipina you could focus on. I feel like it's best just to find one. There's going to be so many you like. You could find somebody. Just start with somebody and see where it goes. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you will find out whether you're going to eliminate them or maybe you need to be more serious with them. And continuing on here, one other thing you don't want to do is move too fast. That would be faster than you can work effectively. This could be a case of moving too fast for her or moving too fast for yourself, but one has to be careful not to blow it here. You just have to, you can move so fast, but so fast that you really jump ahead further than the relationship dictates. So you just have to consider that. You see people at work that, some people can do their jobs working faster than others. Some people can get on an online dating site and process things faster. They just might have more experience at it. And so you can move too slow, but you can also end up moving too fast. You can also be too busy, and this is another thing to avoid. Don't be too busy. And why would a man who has a chance to marry a lovely Filipina be too busy for developing a relationship with her? So I would say don't get too involved with trying to find a Filipina online until you're ready to make a commitment to the entire process. So also, another thing to avoid is giving up too easily. While the man can't be too pushy, he can't give up too easily either. What would cause a man to give up too easily? It could be that he gets impatient with her. It could be that he sees any friction as an indication that it's not going to work out. Maybe her work schedule makes it difficult to find quality time to chat with each other. So again, I'll elaborate more on all of these in the WordPress blog. Another thing to avoid, you must wear decent clothes. So you can blow it if you're not going to wear decent clothes on those webcams. If you're going to appear on webcam wearing wife beater t-shirts, you might as well just not bother. She's probably going to prefer the person she's talking to give the impression that meeting with her is important. Just kind of look at it like, what would you wear if you were going to be meeting her on a date? Because you really are. She's right there in front of you in the camera, even though she might be many thousands of miles away. Another way you could blow it is by talking too much about your past relationships. If she hears a man complaining about past relationships, she might assume she will always hear about it, or she could think that he is, hard to please. Another comment that was made to me was if he has dirty fingernails. I don't know if that would show up on camera, but in person, apparently, having dirty fingernails would be a problem. I might add that it doesn't mean you're going to blow it with a Filipina if you have facial hair. I think their preference is to not have a guy with facial hair. However, if you're good to her, take good care of her, and love her, I think she will be able to overlook some facial hair. Another way to blow it is by being too needy. I had my needs. I've been alone a long time. I didn't want her to think that, I was coming across as being desperate or creepy, and you may have a strong need for a wife, but you have to be careful with your comments so that you don't appear too needy. Another way to blow it is by being too clingy, and by that I mean not allowing her enough space. And it's great to think about it all day, and you daydream about going home and talking to her the rest of the night and anticipate that. But if you send too many text messages, then or bombard her with video requests and stuff, she just might retreat. Another way to blow it with a Filipina is by demanding that she cut off all other guys. If he has found a good thing in a Filipina he has gotten to know, he could be tempted to restrict her from seeing other men. Now, he can't literally do that, but he can tell her that he doesn't want her to talk to other foreigners. He would prefer that, but he shouldn't demanding it. And that comes across as being insecure and jealous. You might both have other irons in the fire, but I think the best way to cut off all of your other competition is to suggest that you focus on each other, or you just ask her to marry you. You want to avoid raising your voice a lot, because that would blow it with a Filipina. And certainly striking her would be something you want to avoid. Now, this happens a lot. Overseas Filipino workers have experienced this, and I know my wife's friends were concerned about this, because we got married very quickly, but sometimes the Filipina has been physically assaulted, and boy, that would blow it big time right away. Another way to blow it would be treating her like a sex object. She doesn't want that. Some other ways, by refusing to try Filipino food and just being condescending. That's not going to win any points with her. Being caught in a lie, this would be a deal breaker. By not allowing her to chat with your family or friends. My wife wanted to talk to my mom and my aunt, and she even talked to my pastor, who I told him, just ask her whatever you want and let me know afterwards. So they spoke for about 45 minutes. My wife wanted to do that, and he gave us his approval for us. But, if you said, no, I don't want you to talk to my family or friends, she's probably going to wonder what you're trying to hide. Another way to blow it is by having inconsistent communication. So, we want to be consistent. You don't want to disappear for a while. Most people, it seems that I know, talk about every day. How much you talk every day. Some people talk for 15 or 30 minutes. Other people may talk for several hours. But that's kind of up to you and probably your personality. Now, another way to blow it is by communicating with other Filipinas if she is dead set against it. Another way is by telling jokes involving sex. To some Filipinas, this would blow it with them. Many of them feel public display of affection is unacceptable and indecent and liberal. So they would be uneasy hearing sexually explicit jokes. Losing your temper would be another way to blow it with a Filipina. And also by making disparaging remarks about the Philippines, about the poverty, sending money to the Philippines. That would be a way to blow it. I actually blew it with my wife a while back when I made a comment about the way she pronounced some words. I've always told her I liked the way she pronounced, or mispronounced certain words, and I liked her accent, just the way it all sounded. However, she has told me before that she didn't like me kidding her about it, and I eventually found out that she was not joking. So also, Filipinas might consider smoking or drinking as something that would be a turnoff to her and a way to blow it with her. Things I've talked about tonight might not always be deal breakers, but all it takes is one. Now, in the comment section, I'll have all of these ways, or the description box rather, I'll have all of these ways listed. And there may be more. These are 32 ways of not blowing it with your Filipina. I invite you to go to the WordPress site, and you can see the whole shooting match over there. And I am so glad that I married my Filipina. But even still, today I have to be careful not to blow it with my love beyond the sea.